than that, hey? I think he
Yeah,
had like 180K or something. It
it
was
was
nothing.
crazy. And chat was
Yeah.
yelling at him to run commercials, run ads so he can get the
Yes.
revenue. It was such an amazing time.
I really think that um like with Twitch ads and things, because that was when they were starting to get more, right?
Mhm.
Well, and I really think that Pestily making it known about the ads, I honestly think paved the way for more patience and more understanding that streamers are doing it in general.
Yeah.
Like since then, I really think he helped start a trend that made it slightly okay that people are gonna run ads. And when people raid now, everyone still says give ads, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
like, yeah, he set a good trend, I think.
Hey, she's a beauty.
Welcome to Tarducks, a podcast for content creators to come on, share their stories, experiences, and advice. And today I'm super excited. I have all the way from Australia, but in UK, Train. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. How's life in the UK going?
It's it's good. It's very warm. Came
Mm-hmm.
from winter, and then I was in the UK before that in winter, so I've just had like 3 seasons of winter, and now I'm in summer. So very, very hot, but I'm enjoying the sunlight a lot. Been nice.
Awesome. Excellent. And what was the reason for the big excursion to the UK?
So I'm going to TwitchCon, and basically the way that I planned my dates for flying over here were honestly prices of flight.
Yeah.
I waited for the cheapest time to leave and to come back, and it just meant that to do
Ah.
that, I had to sort of be away for like 2.5 months.
Okay.
Otherwise, it was like 3,000,
Holy
3.5K for the
cow.
flights.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Well,
pretty much
for
that.
for being a content creator, you could really do it anywhere as long as you have good internet and a good computer.
Yeah. Yep.
That works
Yep.
out
I'm
good.
working on I'm working on getting more IRL streaming stuff. So
Yeah.
I've done some things, but it is so finicky, huge money investment.
From an IRL standpoint, what kind of things would you like to do?
So I'm gonna be IRL streaming at least once a day whilst I'm doing my EU trip.
Mm-hmm.
So in July, I'm going to a lot of different countries,
Oh, nice.
as well as TwitchCon in Paris. So I'm gonna be streaming a lot of that. Probably not all of it. I want to
Mm-hmm.
just enjoy things, obviously
Yes.
outside of stream too. But I'll be doing that.
Okay.
Anything, really.
Very
Mostly
cool.
tourist things.
Yep. All right. So, for the pod, what we normally do to get things going, we do 3 quick questions. Are you ready?
All right, go hit
All
me.
right. Window or aisle seat when you're flying?
Window.
Okay. When you're away from home, what do you miss most?
A cat, I think, and
Yeah.
just the comfortability of where you are.
Yeah. Okay. And now you're going out to your favorite restaurant. What are you eating?
Mm, burger.
Okay. Easy. All right. So now let's start off with this. So right now you're visiting Blitzergirl. How did you guys meet and connect up?
Through streaming. So we were both doing archive drops, and it was both of our first times getting the drops, and we're kind of the same in the sense that we get like a bit anxious, which I'm pretty sure most people do, but we get a bit anxious. We had a mutual mod at the time who said he was staying up for 24 hours to mod my
Mm-hmm.
drops, and then she just watched during the drops, and then we just started hanging out a little bit, started playing games and stuff. And
Oh, nice.
that
And
was 2 years ago.
and is this your first time meeting her IRL?
So I obviously met her last UK trip.
Yeah.
And then also she also went to TwitchCon US last year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then she has been to Oz before. So we've met a few times
Yeah.
like before that with like a bunch of like people from stream and stuff. So
Oh, excellent. All right. So first of all, where does the name come from?
so many, many years ago, I had a friend and he just called me L Train. My name's
Mm-hmm.
Lauren. And honestly, he only called me like once or twice, but when I joined Twitch years and years later, I actually had no idea what to call myself. I've never really had like a online alias that I've always used or anything. I mostly just worked when I was younger,
Yeah.
so I didn't play games as much. So I used L Train, and
Oh,
then
okay.
eventually I just slowly managed to get it to Train.
Nice. All right. And now before you hit that go live button, what is your background?
So when I was, I think when I was 17, 18, I started working, um, like transport, distribution type stuff. Um, I've honestly done a lot over the time. So when I first left school, I did study in education support and special needs,
Mm-hmm.
for kids, and I did that for a while, but it was quite full on, and I truthfully just didn't have the mental strength, really. It was quite a lot, so I moved on from that and got some odd jobs here and there. I've been a supervisor, I've been transport manager, I've been OH&S worker, I've worked with chemicals, I've kind of, yeah, I've pretty much done anything and everything at this point. And then I obviously got into streaming.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So now let's go back to video games. When did video games start for you? When did you start picking them up?
I think when I was a kid, like really young, I played Crash Bandicoot on
Yeah.
PlayStation 1. My mom had got me the PS1. Not that we were allowed to play it that much,
Mm-hmm.
but she got the PS1 and I played Crash Bandicoot Pyro like all the time. As much as I could, basically.
Yeah.
And I didn't really play games much for a very long time, I think, until Grand Theft Auto Vice City on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Played that endlessly. And then again, I didn't really play games that much
Okay.
till
And
maybe mid-teens.
when did PC gaming start for you?
Not that long ago, actually. Yeah, like maybe, oh, maybe 5 or 6 years ago now.
Oh, okay.
Maybe closer to 6, 7. I don't know. Time flies, I think, as you get older. But I bought a laptop for Diablo 3.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, my ex, he played it, and I was like, man, this looks fun. And he was playing it a lot, so I was like, I'll give it a go. So I bought a laptop. I don't know why I bought a laptop and not a desktop, but I did it. And then I played D3, and I played hundreds of hours of it.
Yeah.
And then I'd heard of the game The Division, and I was like, I want to build a PC for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's when it starts, right? Then I built a PC for it, and I actually played on controller on PC. I
What?
didn't know how to use mouse and keyboard much. Yeah.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
what did you think of Division?
It's still my all-time favorite game.
Yeah. And now, did you get the
It's incredible.
DLC, the Survivor DLC?
I did, yes, but I didn't enjoy survival as much. I just loved the Dark Zone. I was
Yeah.
addicted to the PvP BE aspect, which
Yeah.
is probably why I like Tarkov so much. It
Yeah.
has a lot of similarities.
It does. The Division was the game that scratched that itch of stash
Mm-hmm.
and PvP, PvE all in one
Yeah.
game. And, when they added VoIP to it and you can hear people like, as you're
Yes.
killing them, their last moments, it's like, yes.
Yep. Yep. It's honestly incredible, and I think if they had, it's a bit harsh, but I think if it was a different developer
Mm-hmm.
and they had a higher budget and it came out in the last couple years instead of so long ago, I
Yeah.
honestly think it would be still one of the most popular.
Yeah.
'Cause,
I
yeah,
agree.
there's a lot in it that is so similar to Tarkov, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure people realize that as unique as Tarkov is, there's quite a lot of aspects that aren't necessarily unique. It's just that it's the first one that actually put a lot of effort into making it good.
Yeah.
So I wish Division 2 was better. It
I
was
know.
probably very, very disappointing. Very
Yeah.
disappointing.
I hear you there. And you're right with Division, like how, the Tarkov similarities, like, you can building your modding your gun and just,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, it's
I
just
guess it
such,
just had more RPG aspects, right?
yeah,
Instead of realistic sort of shooter.
yeah,
But the way we're extracting
right.
now with the tasks that they have, like I
Mm-hmm.
keep trying to say that they should add global tasks.
Yes.
Like kill Rishala this many times in 2 weeks and you'll get a reward and things.
Yeah.
If they did things like that, I think that it
Yeah.
would rotate the busy maps a lot. And
I agree
just slight
100%.
incentive.
Yeah. When Division added those glglobal tasks, it was a good,
So fun.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
what were those? They were like global modifiers.
Mm-hmm.
You remember those?
Yep.
And I can't remember exactly what they were, but they were amazing. Yeah.
Yep.
I wish Tarkov just did something a little bit like that, and
Yeah.
it would be incredible.
Yeah, for me, the Survivor DLC was the real, like, it created that like, oh, that was good. And then finding Tarkov was just such a, like, oh, okay, this is great.
Yeah. The funny thing is I played Tarkov years ago, and I'm pretty sure I played one raid with someone. We played woods, and I just remember that we walked for so long and we didn't see anyone, and then we died near these log piles. So I now know that it was woods. We
Yeah.
died, and I was just like, this is the boringest game I've ever played. And then I didn't touch it again for you.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah.
man. And now, what was your first game you did mouse and keyboard then?
Division.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so I was on controller, but I forced myself to switch. But
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about mouse sense. I didn't know about DPI. I literally had the max sense on the game. I'm pretty sure my DPI was set to like 1600 with max sense in the game. So yeah, I was. It took me like a couple days, like the
Yeah.
mouse, the keyboard aspect. I got used to pretty quickly, but the mouse and aiming, oh, I was absolutely horrendous.
And now, okay, so what made you hit that go live button?
So I stopped working like sort of everyday jobs, I guess I'll call them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I needed knee surgery. I suddenly got really bad with it, and I had a lot of blood in my knee. Didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
For a few months, I was struggling to walk, struggling to stand, sit down, and my job at the time was 12 hours on my feet.
Oh shoot.
So it was like it was pretty rough. And then when it was getting to the point where I couldn't even get myself out of my chair or
Oh wow.
sit down properly, and then I'm just in agony at night. I was like, and then one day I just lifted my pants up after work to look at my knee and it was swollen and full of blood, and I was like,
Oh my God.
probably go get it checked. Yeah, so I got it checked, and then he said you need surgery, and it's going to take about 6 months. And I at the time was like, 6 months is so long, and it turned out I ended up waiting 2.5 years or something.
Holy cow.
2.5 years. I think it was 2 years actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I got into a pretty bad place. I've gone from working a lot, not at all, being pretty useless, not being
Yeah.
able to do anything. I got into a pretty bad place, and I was obviously in a relationship at the time, and then obviously that didn't pan out during the
Yeah.
whole process. So I went from having a lot of my own things, like a house, a car, and everything, basically having nothing.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I went from like a normal whole life and
Yeah.
life set up to nothing basically, and I was just really depressed. So I played the Division for endless hours a day,
Yeah.
and then eventually friend had suggested it. I don't know why I had the urge to as well, so I just did, and that was how I got into streaming.
Oh
I was
wow.
just playing for like 16 hours a day, so I
Yeah.
just started to hit the go live button.
Oh my.
That was
And
pretty
now,
much
did
it.
you know about Twitch at that point, or did you have friends streaming or anything like this, or was this your first thing?
Yeah, I didn't really know much about it. I actually, a year or two before that, I actually had the urge, get into YouTube and make videos and things. And I still remember I deleted them all. And I wish that I didn't delete them. I wish that I just had unlisted them or hid
Yeah.
them. But I made the most cringe League of Legends videos. And I wasn't even that good at League. It was just a way for me to try and get into the whole YouTube thing.
Yeah.
But I had never heard of Twitch. It was just everyone knows what YouTube is, right? If
Right.
you consider to do anything, you're probably straight away gonna be like, yeah, you. But yeah, a friend had told me about Twitch, and then I just started watching and did it myself.
And now, what was those first streams like? People coming in and just strangers coming in and talking.
Yeah, it was weird at first. I won't lie. I think that I was a quite different person back then.
Mm-hmm.
Like still at the core me, but I was obviously younger, and I think my social skills were far worse than they are now, and they're still not too top notch. So, it was definitely weird, but for some reason, I liked it, and I became addicted to it, and I enjoyed talking to people.
Yeah.
And it's weird because outside of stream, I'm actually really quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really talk much. I'm sort of more of the social anxiety person. There's a lot of people,
Uh-huh.
and
Yep.
but then with stream, I just got addicted to it, and I just liked it. Yeah.
And now
Good.
today, is the social anxiety a little less and it's easier in crowds, or is it still you're happy to be in a
Um,
hanging out at somebody's house and just a few people?
I think I do like going out and things, but I think with me, it's more determined on how I'm feeling that day.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I went to the shops the other day, and I was just in a shoe store, but there was so many. like, man, London is just continuously busy.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot to adjust to, and I was just like, "Ah," lots of people, like, the house sounds good right now, but
Yeah.
I get over it pretty quickly, whereas back in the day, I would just choose to never go anywhere.
Well, I'll tell you. So I'm over 50 now, and as I get older, the less I want to be around crowds and people. And
Yeah.
it's just like it's to the point where my wife, I even talking to people, like if we were going to order out something, she'll call because I don't want to talk to people, and I'll go get it. But
Yeah.
but she goes, Barry, I
Yeah.
don't understand you. You do a podcast where you talk to strangers, and yet
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, it's just
It's
weird.
somehow different though, right?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
somehow different. I
Yeah,
think if people don't do it, they don't understand the difference, but
yeah,
yeah, it's hard to explain.
yeah, absolutely. And now, what game did you start streaming with?
The division.
Oh, okay. Now,
Yeah.
what, sort of what was your path?
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
actually there was one game I played before the division. And I only streamed it a couple times, but it was so weird because it got me from like 0 viewers to like 5,
Yeah.
like within a week. Steep, have you heard of it?
Is that the snowboarding one?
Yes, where you
Yes.
do snowboarding, the wingsuit thing, the
Yes.
skiing.
Yep.
It's actually to this day a goddamn incredible game,
Yep.
but it never got any marketing for it, and it didn't really have any viewership on Twitch. But it's an amazing game. It's
Yep.
so fun.
Oh.
And beautiful graphics for its time. Beautiful
Yes.
graphics.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I streamed that a couple times and went from like 0 to 5 viewers
Yeah.
average, and then I moved to the division.
Oh,
So
shoes.
I guess technically the division, but
Yeah.
deep a
Okay.
couple.
And now, how if somebody's coming into a train stream, what are they experiencing?
Well, lately it's been interesting. um, I mean, I don't know how PG your podcast is, but I
Hey,
just
it is so what I say to every creator that comes on, it is your pod. Whatever we go, whatever you want to say, it is yours. So, I've had,
well,
Sam on and he goes, I have Slushpuppy. So Slushpuppy's been
oh,
on,
okay,
so
I'm safe. I'm safe.
you're
I'm
safe.
safe.
There's
Yeah,
nothing you could
yeah.
go past
If
what
Slush
he's
has been on, I'm safe.
yes.
Lately, because I'm doing the killer farming, we literally just talk about anything and everything all day.
Yeah.
Like, which is actually quite nice. They're making it tolerable. Whereas if I didn't stream, I would just not even do it. Like, I'd be like, nope. But we all have this weird fascination with these nuts jokes. So that's been a thing for the last few months.
Yeah.
Anything and everything possible to say that to. And then on top of that, we've got this PP command that tells you how many inches your dick is, and that seems to be a thing. And then besides that, we just endlessly talk about food.
Yeah.
So lately, that's probably been the vibe, but it's all good and
Okay.
fun. Yeah.
Nice. And now since you hit that go live button, what's been some of the toughest things?
Um, I think it's the same for everyone, seeing declining and plateauing a lot.
Yeah.
I don't really do much networking anymore. And I don't really hang out into Twitch streams much anymore. I just sort of stick to myself and do my own thing. But there's definitely been very big changes, since COVID and then
Mm-hmm.
after COVID, and just seeing, your finances go down and not having that security, it can be
Yeah.
pretty stressful. And it's the same for every streamer. But trying to force yourself to be consistent,
Mm-hmm.
despite it, is quite hard. Like finding that motivation sometimes is quite hard
Yeah.
to do. So I guess just mental health more,
Yeah.
probably the toughest part with streaming, really.
And now, when did you first go live?
A very good question. I think I have a 5-year sub now.
Okay.
So this is actually a second channel. So my first channel I think was maybe 6 years ago,
Yeah.
and I deleted that and came back and streamed on this one. So I still have OGs. Definitely not as many over time
Yeah.
life, but yeah, I think on this channel 5.5 years,
Okay.
because I did have a period where I didn't turn on my affiliate or have any donations. Sort of, I didn't take anything. I just streamed.
Yeah.
So yeah, about 5.5.
Okay. And now over that period of time, as a streamer, content creator, it's, you don't have vacation, you don't have sick days. How have you been, how do you manage sort of like, because you need, people need breaks. You can't do this 7 days a week, six
Yeah.
days a week. How have you built in sort of like, these, trips like this? Because what I've heard from other
Um,
creators is when you take that time off, your viewership takes it takes a knock.
yeah, so I mean, for me, so I suffer from quite severe migraines.
Yeah.
Um, and just health. I've had a lot of health issues in this time that I've been streaming. So I've had a lot of downtime. Like people have seen me move house multiple times. I've got a million different clips with a million different rooms. I've got, I've got clips of me with an eye patch. I've got clips of me with this headgear on. Like I've had a lot of stuff
Oh
throughout the years.
no.
So I've had a lot of time off just in general.
Mm-hmm.
And it never really, for me personally, it definitely impacts your viewership. It just takes a couple days for them to sort of come back and get used to you streaming again.
Yeah.
But for me, I always had a pretty consistent poor viewership, and even to this day, I have. And I think it's just because I was always transparent. Um, I was always transparent about the fact that, like, look, like I suffer from these really bad migraines. I have to take like five,
Yeah.
6 days off every month, and that's just sort of the way it is. And I hate it, but there's nothing I could really do about it.
Yeah.
So the actual core viewership that I have and the people that, are not just someone that comes in like once a week or something, they're
Mm-hmm.
pretty incredible. Like
Oh, good.
I'm pretty lucky that I have, um, really good viewer retention basically,
Yeah.
over the years.
Nice. And now over the years, what have been some of the highlights since going live?
To be honest, I think they all made me a better person,
Yeah.
as weird as that seems, but I've learned a lot from streaming in general about people, about
Mm-hmm.
myself, and just how to try and like handle situations better and how to like not let certain people or certain things affect me as
Yeah.
deeply. And I still suffer from that problem. Like it could be the simplest joke and I'm just like I overthink it like crazy.
Yeah.
But um they all really did make me a better person. They helped me grow into someone that I think I more am
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit more confident. And I guess for that I'll always be appreciative really.
Nice. And now,
I tell them nothing.
no,
I'll get a big head.
we'll delete that. This is just
Yeah. Yeah.
for Train's Patreon. That's where they'll get access to this.
Yeah, that's where they'll see it.
And now, since you went live, have you seen a gradual increase in your numbers, or were there certain points where all of a sudden you saw your numbers jump up because of certain events or things like that?
So for me, I've played a lot of games over the years. I mean, in the last 2.5, 3 years, it's mainly been Tarkov, and I
Mm-hmm.
do regret that slightly, which I'm pretty sure most streamers end up regretting a little bit.
Yeah.
But before that, I actually played a lot of games. Like I played Siege, and I played PUBG, I played CS, I played The Division. Like I didn't really care as much.
Yeah.
But there were definitely times where I noticed like spikes in my viewership, and when I played Siege, I was getting a little bit more. I think I had like 30 to 40 viewers, and I was like, whoa, this is a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And at the time, I was playing competitive Siege, and then I tried EFT, and then I just wanted to keep playing that. And I switched, and for a few days, I noticed I had like maybe 2/3 the viewership,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just started to like grow quite a lot. So within the month, I went from like 30 odd average, like 100.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Um, I think I came into EFT at a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I came in just before the crazy Twitch drops, the very first Twitch drops,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
just before. So I kind of like, I got a good viewership just before that happened.
Yeah.
And then that even made it bigger, right? And so I kind of grew with it.
Nice.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that Christmas when the first drops came and Pestily was dropping like 100,000 people, and
I
it
think
was
he had
just
more than that, hey. I think he
yeah,
had like 180K or something. It
it
was
was
nothing.
crazy. And chat was
Yeah.
yelling at him to run commercials, run ads so he can get the
Yes.
revenue. It was such an amazing time.
I really think that um like with Twitch ads and things, because that was when they were starting to get more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I really think that Pestily making it known about the ads, I honestly think paved the way for more patience and more understanding that streamers are doing it in general.
Yeah.
Like since then, I really think he helped start a trend that made it slightly okay that people are gonna run ads. And when people raid now, everyone still says give ads, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
like, yeah, he set a good trend, I think,
Mm-hmm.
with that.
Yeah. And now, speaking of raids, any big raids that happened to you over time?
The very first big raid I got, I was playing the Division, and it was from I don't know if you've heard of him, Badjo. He's an
Oh,
Aussie
okay.
guy, and he's actually from a TV series here, and he started streaming, and he had raided me when I was on Division. And I think he raided me with like 350 people,
Yeah.
and at the time I think I had 20 viewers, and I was so nervous. It was crazy. It was the most adrenaline rushing thing.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I didn't really get too much
Mm-hmm.
until I started playing EFT, and then it wasn't right away, but after I had played Pest, he obviously rated me. So that was like around 3 to 4K, and yeah, I was very nervous then too.
Yeah.
And then that's happened a few times now, so it gets a little bit easier, but yeah, it's still pretty nerve-wracking.
It is nothing. There's nothing that can prepare you to go from like, here's your house party with 5 or 10 of your friends, and then all of a sudden, wham! There's 300 people or a few thousand people now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, woohoo!
The
Let's
good
go.
thing is that most people actually lurk, and that's what I've learned over time, especially Pest viewers, that he has a lot of lurkers.
Yeah.
Quiet supporters that are usually just watching while they're doing something. And I do as well, honestly. A lot of people are working or they're playing a game.
Yeah.
And so it's if I tell myself that, it's a little bit less scary, I guess. But yeah, it's still pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah. And now, do you remember your Twitch partner story?
So I applied twice.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I got denied, and I was so sad. Like, I don't know why, but it just rumbled me, and I read it. I read the email. I was like, guys, I got a Twitch email, and I got denied, and I like cried.
Oh.
I felt so sad and disappointed. I just cried, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna get off. And then I came back the next day, and I kept trying.
Yeah.
I just kept grinding, right? But basically, I just needed to have more constant viewers that weren't from raids. Essentially, is what they told me.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to get the raid percentage lower, and then so I just streamed a lot for the next. I applied again, and
And now, do you remember where you were when you got the notification? Were you live, or were you off, doing other things?
actually I can't remember. No, I don't think I was live at the time, because after that first time being denied, I was like, I'm never opening a Twitch notification or email again on stream, because I didn't want the same thing to happen. So
Yeah.
I don't think I was live, but I think after I applied, I kept checking.
Okay. And now, if somebody's thinking about, hitting the go live button, what kind of advice would you, have for them?
It's funny because a lot of people ask that, right? And a lot of people ask, like, what advice do you have for someone that wants to stream or wants to get partnered or wants affiliate? And it's such a hard question, because at the end of the day, everybody knows best. Usually clouded by anxiety and fear of this.
Yeah.
But as harsh as it is, you kind of just need to live through it.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to have those mistakes, and you need to go through the hiccups. You
Yeah.
need to go through all the interactions that you do and don't like in order to get a real feel for how you're going to cope,
Yeah.
and or if you actually like it. Because we can always give tips to people, but it's so different for every person.
Yeah.
And there's maybe like a set of rules you should try and apply to, but in the end, same with anything, you just go through it
Yeah.
and learn for yourself. Because you'll know if you don't like it, right?
Right.
If you like it, you'll keep doing it, and you'll just naturally want to do it. But if you don't like it, you'll just not do it,
Yeah.
right?
And now, how has it been maining Tarkov? Have you switched up any games during the, the lulls or like sort of the downtime, or have you just, stuck with Tarkov?
I think because I've had so much time off in general,
Yeah.
over the last couple of years, that I didn't really too much feel the need to do something else.
Yeah.
I do slightly regret it, because there were definitely times where I was frustrated, and instead of streaming, stream.
Yeah.
But in the last couple subathons and tipathons, I've played some other games, and it's actually quite nice.
Oh, good.
It's been a good break. And then this wipe now, I've been able to play more than I sort of have for a very long time, because my health has been better.
Yeah.
So now it's gotten to this point, and I'm like, I played other games, because I think I'm like level 65, and I know there's some other people that are like level 70 or whatever, but
Yeah.
with all the bugs and stuff, I I just don't have that mental resilience as much now. I don't think, not after like 9,000 hours.
Right. Yeah. It's been a, I don't want to say it's been a tough year, but like I remember last summer the wipe seemed like not the patience, but just the drive people had to play the game hit quicker. And then this time around, Christmas wipe, it seems like it's just, out of the gates they had, the audio issues.
It's even fast.
Yeah, it just seems,
I think that it'll still be one of my main games, but with my IRL content that's coming and stuff like that, I just think that I need to separate slightly from it because it's turning into, like streaming for me something that was an escape and helped me deal with certain things. But now I'm trying to find things outside of streaming that can help me deal with stream.
Right.
And when it gets like that, it becomes less enjoyable in general. And it's taken a very, very big mental health in general last year. So for me, playing other games, it's stressful, but I'm trying to force myself to basically. And I'm trying to set up, financial options that aren't just streaming a game. So slowly.
It seems to me last summer it made a lot of content creators who were Tarkov focused get out of their comfort zone and try other games. People branched off into DayZ. They had Rust and COD and things like that. Which now looking at those, some of those creators, they've you haven't seen them in Tarkov, and the community stayed with them, or their community stayed with them, and they picked up some other people.
I think that there's definitely a drop off, and I think that the people that do have the higher numbers, capitalizing on that, I think is really important. And I think that the people that are definitely a little bit more not just game orientated but personality orientated, you see they do well, right? Like Ray is like a good example. He's got a really big EFT community, but like he's also just his own person, his own personality, and he's gone and he's taken that to something else. And whilst he has dropped a little bit, he's actually done really well with it. Like, so I think it's a little bit harder for people that have lower viewership. I think that's definitely a thing, but you just need to sort of be a little bit smart about it, I suppose, and try your best.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, what was your path to Tarkov? How did you end up finding the game?
So obviously I played it like years ago that one time, and I was like, it's the boringest game ever. I was like, why does anyone play this? I just ran for 20 minutes to just get one tap. Like, this is stupid. And then I had a friend that I met through Siege. She had said, play this game with me. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I played it, and I just found myself like playing on my own. But I would do like night raids, or I would go shoreline, and I would just loot the storm. There was like these small little itches that I had to play the game, and I was so terrified of it that I would take in a hatchet. I would go to factory night. I would loot a couple crates, and it didn't matter at the time because even if I died to a scav, I had that stuff in like butt, right? So it was like it didn't matter too much. It wasn't that detrimental, and I was terrified to even play the game at the beginning.
Oh Lord!
But that's how I started playing.
All right.
I think that lasted for a day and a half, and then I wanted to do things. It didn't take long.
And what is the hook? 9,000 hours later, you're still playing. What is the hook that Tarkov has?
I think the PvP probably. But the fact that I don't enjoy the PvP as much lately. Like, it's funny though, because when I have a really good PvP moment, I'm like it's still just as good. But those moments seem far more rare these days, that it feels like I'm continuously searching for PvP instead of just naturally coming across it like you used to. But probably the PvP, and just I think that there is a skill difference in Tarkov, and there is a little bit less these days as time has gone on. But when I first started getting into the PvP, like I felt like there was a skill difference. Because now there is definitely with movement, like you have to know how to work with the and stuff, and be good at the quick peeky and stuff. Not many people know how to do that, but besides that, making rebuilds is easy. I mean, doing most things in the game is pretty easy now. So it feels like there's less skill difference in general.
And yeah, Tarkov is unique for me. You know, when I found this game, it just scratched an itch like no other game has. And and you know, even to this day, I can still remember key moments like flashbulb moments of like that no game has ever done.
Yeah.
Created. How about for you? Is there like certain moments you can still remember, like a certain raid or a certain encounter?
I think the first time I killed a squad, I was like, and I killed them in like, I think it was like 10 seconds. I killed four guys in like 15 seconds. But the funny thing about the clip is one of them I didn't realize was PK.
Oh shoot!
But I was so zoned in that there were so many people around me that I didn't realize that my teammate had run towards me. So I killed 4 guys, but one of them was a teammate. So I got 3 of them. And I was so like I had so much adrenaline coursing through my veins.
Yeah.
And it like the 3 kills that I got was like, yeah, in 10 seconds. And I was like, whoa. The first time I got kappa was pretty good because when I first played, I actually didn't do any tasks.
Mm-hmm.
I barely did any tasks. I just played and I got to level 42 and got max.
Yeah.
That was how I did it. I just killed people, killed things. I didn't bother with tasks. And then after, I think, 3 wipes, I was kind of like, yeah, I guess I'll go for it. I'll challenge myself. And it seemed to be very interactive stream because they like helping and they like when you're going for goals and things. And so I did it. So the first time I got kappa was pretty good.
Yeah. Now, do you remember what was the last thing you had to do? Was there a certain item? Is that last item that you were searching for to get the kappa or a certain quest?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you. But I can remember this wipe. I was like, yes, I have everything. I'm so excited. Handed everything in, and then I needed the golden like rooster. And I was like, are you serious? And I was so sad. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go woods. I'm going to scav run, and we're going to find one.
Yeah.
On the first raid. So.
Oh, wow.
There seems to be always something we forget every time.
And I swear to God, Nikita knows when you need something and, you just, everybody else is finding it around you and you just can't find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always like that.
And at what was your sort of hardest thing to learn playing Tarkov?
Probably, even though it seems so simple now, things like gun modding.
Yeah.
And just remembering all the items. But even to this day, I'm very forgetful. Like I have really bad memory issues, even though I'm quite young. They're quite horrendous. And so I still struggle to actually mod guns.
Yeah.
So like I'll still have the same issue where I'm like, chat, like what do I do? Like what am I doing wrong here? And probably that and remembering all the items.
Yeah.
And in the beginning I struggled remembering.
Yeah.
I struggled to remember the difference between like 5.56, 5.45.
Oh, okay.
And even now, there's still all the different 7.62 variations, and I can't for the life of me remember. I'll just be like, so is that the BP and the PS that goes in the AKM, or is it like a different 7.62? Like I'll still ask the same questions to this day.
And now, what's your, sort of when wipe happens these days, what are your first things you just try to focus on? Do you focus on just getting, some quests or, getting a certain type of kit that you like to roll with?
I do the quest as quickly as I can, but I cannot stand doing tasks with no rubles.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy that aspect. I know some people like it and they're like, I don't care about low rubles, but I cannot stand it. So for the first like hour or two, probably for the first 2 hours, I will, I'll obviously do PMC raids, but in between every PMC raid, I'll do a scav raid.
Yeah.
If they're going a bit rough, it'll depend on my confidence and how the PMC raid went. So if I'm playing well and I'm like confident that I'll be okay, I'll just do 1 or 2 scav runs. But if they're going a little bit rough, I'll do scav runs.
Yeah.
In between, just for an hour or 2, and then once I get a little bit of rubles and I don't feel so like pressured, then I just don't care. From then, it's just mainly PMC.
Okay. And now, this path to kappa, was there a certain quest that was just such a really pain in the butt that you just like hated, you dreaded?
I think that being Australian, you kind of know that some tasks get harder the longer you wait. And this wipe was a little bit better, but for example, like Tarkov Shooter 8, we need to get 3 PMC kills on woods in 1 raid with a bolty.
Yep.
I actually quite like it, but yeah, I'm not sure people outside of Australia realize how different our gameplay has to be. just because we know that that's a thing.
Yeah.
And playing at certain times of the night or day, it's not always busy. Even at wipe, it has its quieter times, which is pretty rare because it's start a wipe. So for the first 2 months, it's quite busy. But once that 3rd month hits, tell. And so there are things like Shooterborn and Tarkov Shooter 8 that I really try to get done fast because they rely on such RNG, and I want to try and maximize that my raids are full.
Right.
And obviously there are certain tasks that you can get Shooterborn on quite easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, just things like that, really.
Okay. And how was getting Shooterborn on streets?
I had issues learning spots for it.
Yeah.
In the first couple of hours, but then after that it was just a matter of RNG and going there.
Yeah.
And then I got 2 in 1 raid, I think. So
Oh,
it wasn't
nice.
too bad. Yeah.
Did I hear you correctly say you said you like that 3 PMC bolty kill on Woods in 1 raid?
I like it, yes, but but not so much anymore.
Yeah.
So this wipe, I don't like it as much, mainly because hit reg seems a little bit and I've always sort of been someone that I will for fun use a bolt action with a hollow sight.
Yeah.
Like in general, just on maps, I've always done that. So when it comes to doing the 3 in 1 raid, I actually like it a lot because you need to be really good. You need to be sort of close to medium range. That's how I play it, with a hollow or an iron sight, and I just run around like this chicken, basically. And it's like the essence of my gameplay. It's really aggressive. I move a lot, and I like quick peeking. So it's like it really brings out like the best parts of my gameplay.
Yeah.
But hit reg this wipe seemed pretty questionable, and with the lag issues we had at the beginning, so I didn't enjoy it as much.
Okay. Now, do you prefer rolling solo or with a couple of teammates?
I really try to avoid more than a duo.
Yeah.
I have more this wipe. Like usually I'm always like, nah, more than duo, I can't do it because I get really overwhelmed audio-wise, like really overwhelmed. So I'm, for the most part, solo, but this wipe I've done more duos and trios than I ever have. And I think it's just, I just don't enjoy sort of the game as thoroughly as I did. So I sort of doing more silly things and trying to have fun with other people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's if Tarkov has shown me anything, it is how bad we are at communicating, especially if you're trying to run a trio or 4. God bless you if you run a 5-man.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it.
Yeah.
Duo for me sometimes, depending how I am that day, is even a lot for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it without like, I guess, sounding rude, because I'm always down to play with anyone. Like always. Like I do duos with people from stream, and it's always a fun time because it's like you meet new people and you have fun.
Yeah.
But for people that I play with a lot, I can be a little bit, I don't know how to say it without sounding like kind of like an asshole, but I can be a little bit picky in that sense. Like I prefer sort of more relaxed people.
Yep.
And quieter people, which is interesting because I play with Triangle and she's super loud, but she's super fun, right? So it's like, it's fine. But she's probably someone that is like, you know, she's really loud and, you know, she's, you know, always cracking jokes and thing. And she is the only person that I've been able to play with that is sort of kind of like that.
Yeah.
So she must be pretty cool if I play with her a lot despite that. But usually I play with sort of more quieter people.
Yeah.
Because I get really overwhelmed.
No. I hear you there. It's just, you know, it's one of those games. I play with some people that are just chatty. And it's like, oh my God, you're running through woods trying to focus, and you're talking about some TV show or something you ate. It's like, shush.
Yeah. Sometimes, oh
yeah.
Like depending who you play with.
Right.
It just depends on how you are that day, right? But you get comfortable with certain people. So if you play with people enough, even if someone talks a lot, you get used to how they are, sort of thing. So it's not too bad.
And the other thing I find interesting is when you play with somebody new, your callouts may be a little bit different as to, you know, what's, you know, that's the other thing that's interesting.
I think because I played solo for so long, I never really had to worry about callouts much. And there's plenty of times now where someone will be like, what do you call this? And I'll be like, that place over there. Like I don't have a call out for it because I've never needed one.
Right.
So it's still a problem. And then also I feel a lot of pressure with, you know, squads or duos to always have the best comms and play well so that they don't die. And I don't know why it affects me so heavily, but I feel so bad. Like if I make a mistake and it
Yep.
gets someone killed, or I make a bad call out, because I'm horrendous. Like I fumble with my brain so much, and I know that I've gotten people killed. I feel so guilty. I hate it. So then I'm like, oh, I should play solo. Like I'm getting people killed over
Right.
here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing, playing with other people, for me, it all my play style changes. It's like I'm so concerned that I don't want to lose, like you were saying, you don't want to lose a teammate. So like you're
Mhm.
either, playing sort of more over aggressive than you normally play, or it's just, yeah, it's a weird thing.
Yeah, I think my play style changes a little bit depending who I'm playing with.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because I am quite aggressive and I run around like crazy.
Yeah.
So when I know that someone's not necessarily like that, I don't want them to feel like, it's not a duo or something. So I slow down a bit. Like
Yeah.
I want them to feel like we're playing together,
Yeah.
it's not just you've come along for the ride type thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And something I think it was Pest that says, streaming Tarkov is almost like the perfect game to stream because you have their up lows and sort of like highs and lows when you're in stash and chat with Chad, or while you're going into a
Yeah.
raid, and when you're in the raid, it's almost like everybody's quiet and just watching you do your thing.
Yeah. You can also just sort of choose to just chill if you want to raid, right?
Yeah.
Like you choose your pace. If you want to just chill and snipe and do something, I mean, you have that option.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously situations where you are concentrating like crazy because you're in a big PvP session and you're so concentrated, you're like, and chats, they're reacting, but you're just so concentrated. And then eventually you come back to them, you just be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Anyway, hi guys. Like, so yeah, it is a pretty good game.
Yeah. And now something that's unique with Tarkov, I think, is your stash management. So like as a content creator, when you go live, before you go live, are you making sure your stash is all organized, ready to go for a few raids, or is it just
I actually don't, but I have been considering doing that.
Yeah.
Because that downtime, it adds up, and trying to minimize that. Especially now that I'm doing the killer hunting, trying to minimize that and having kits ready seems to be like a big time saver because I'm in and out of the raid within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And if I die, then I'm out earlier, but then I'm spending 5 to 10 minutes getting a kit.
Yeah.
When that could be 2 raids trying to get killer. So it's like I'm trying to maximize that. And I honestly think that wipe is coming. So I feel like I'm on a even like quicker clock.
Yeah.
I'm rushing wipe right now because I actually really want it, but I have a feeling that I'm not going to get it. Just wipe's going to come. So
Yeah.
it sucks, but at the end of the day, it just means it'll be easier next.
Yes. Now, do you really think wipe is coming soon?
Honestly, I really hope not.
Yeah.
But yes, I do. I hope not because nothing's changed. And like I say to people, we should never assume. So they could, do the wipe and they've made bulk changes to tasks and progression and how it works. And I'll be like, okay, cool. But, I mean, they've always done a wipe when I'm busy.
Yeah.
So it's probably coming. Yeah. Because I'm going to be traveling a lot next month. So yeah, it's probably coming. Yeah.
Well, we are definitely in that window where they've wiped in the past, but like, what is really coming in this next update? It's more of a technical update. We're not getting a lot that really.
Haven't they already done the technical
Well, they did one.
The next one's Unity, right?
Yeah, Unity's built into that. But as far as like content and quests changes, and I don't think there's a lot of that. So
I think that they are gonna wipe, and I think that they're gonna do the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't know jack about anything to do with game engines or how it all works, but just thinking from a BSG standpoint, they are going to want to limit how much downtime or there possibly could be. And so I think that they're going to like group it all up and they're going to wipe, going to do server resets because will have to. And I think that just them being how they are, they'll want to do it all at once.
Yeah.
And then they'll probably not do proper server maintenance for the next.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, just what they did at Christmas time with the audio was so broke. It's just like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I respect that they're trying.
Yep.
But holy moly, they are so lucky. I think that they have such a core player base.
Yeah.
They have such a dedicated player base because if this was COD or something, people give up on those games so quickly. And you've got people like like me or Pest. I mean, Pest obviously has done a lot more outside of Tarkov in the last few months. It's like good, but he's still a core player for Tarkov. Glorious, you know, like
and
Gigs.
Trey and
Yeah. You've got all of these people, and then obviously there's like all of us slightly smaller people that we do really help keep the game going. And I think if they didn't have all of us, I really think that the game would be such worse player base wise. And yeah, I think they're just lucky.
Yes.
I just think they're lucky they've got these people that are willing to create.
It's because if they didn't have those people, or have a game that has such a uniqueness to it, people wouldn't be sticking around.
I mean, Starfield, not that Starfield is PvP, but it has some, you know, pretty intense aspects like Tarkov does. Marathon, like if they do well, like it will hurt Tarkov, and I think that they know that, and I think that it will never compare, and there will always, if certain things don't change and get over time, then it's slowly worse, right? Gradually worse.
And now, you with your sort of, competitive CS background, Siege, are you looking for Arena?
I just want to fix that. I never did competitive CS.
Oh, okay.
I was so bad at that game. Like, I could hit my shot, but my positioning, anything to do with utilities, I was freaking horrendous. Horrendous. I played it for like 2 months, got to gold, and I was like, all right, I'm done. And I think some games I even got carried by my teammates, which I'll never tell them. But yeah, I was horrendous. Absolutely horrible.
All right. So with your 2 months of competitive CS and your Siege experience, are you looking forward to Arena?
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
Because for me, again, I'm not sure people realize how different competitive sort of games are in Australia. It's just not as enjoyable.
Yeah.
Even for me, EFT as it is, it's like I very rarely play OC anymore. I stopped because I was getting stream sniped a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of toxic masculinity in Australian servers.
Oh, really?
It's like a lot of people are lovely, but it's also very very like toxic and cliquey, and I don't really have the energy for that. And the same thing in Siege, it was so toxic and gross, and it like the reason I stopped competitive Siege was just because I was sick of having just so many like groups of men just be, you know, assholes. And the same thing happens on EFT in Oz. Like everybody knows everyone, and I've met a lot of incredible people. I really have. But when it comes to competitive aspects or tryharding or PvP, I don't know what happens, but holy, they are some of the most toxic people I've ever met.
Oh, that's awful.
Like, and I'm not trying to paint a bad name for Oz. It's just the fact of the matter is there's just less people, right? So you don't encounter new people as often, and you don't encounter, you know, as many people in general. So you experience the bad a little bit more, right? That's just natural, and it's not necessarily anything against Australians. It's just that we don't have the player base to make it always unique, and it'll turn into the same thing where I'll probably just be versing the same stack of people all the time. And I just don't enjoy that.
It's not worth it.
It'll be fun, I think. And look, it could entirely surprise me, and it could end up being something that's completely new and good, and there'll be enough people that play it that it won't be a problem. But I don't have much hope for it in the sense of me being in Australia doing it.
All right.
Basically. Do it in another country? Yes. But
That was something I was going to ask you, about, being a female content creator. And, a lot of the females that have been on the pod, they have good things to say about the Tarkov community. But I've heard a lot of bad things about the Rainbow Six Siege community being very toxic.
It's so bad.
How's your overall experience been from a female content creator standpoint?
I think with me, I'm not really someone that will let someone, like, I guess, do some stupid shit. Like, I don't have any fear to tell someone to F off. Or to tell someone that they're being, like, chauvinistic, asshole. I don't have any fear for that. I've always sort of been very forward, and if someone's being genuinely disrespectful or sexist, I've always had the balls to just be like, no, like shut up,
Yeah.
basically. And I think that the problem with that sometimes is that, you know, you can come across a little bit harsher than you intend to, but at the end of the day, it's definitely worse at times,
Mm-hmm.
but you just sort of have to have the balls to tell people to piss off.
Yeah.
And I've just always done that, which is probably slightly why I'm also, you know, not that close to people in the competitive scenes or PvP aspects in my server, because I don't have the energy for, you know, the sort of masculine, sort of egotistical vibe that comes from a lot of people with like those sort of games. And obviously, I am quite defensive, like most women are, when it comes to gaming and competitiveness, because we've just experienced so much shit over the time, right?
Yeah.
So we come across slightly more standoffish than, you know, we intend to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just want people to piss off, honestly.
Well,
And
they deserve it. There's no reason for that today.
yeah,
There's no reason for that ever. It's just I don't get it in today's day and age that's still
yeah, it's quite odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Considering how inclusive and diverse the world is these days,
Yeah.
there's still that weird thing. It's quite odd, but most of the time, honestly, these days it becomes laughable more than anything, and it doesn't usually piss me off too much anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Probably because I stopped playing OCE.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah.
So now, when you are running some duos, who do you normally roll with?
So the person I play with most, I think, in the last couple of years is a friend called Sparksy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a really good friend. He's probably like one of my best friends, like IRL and in general. Yeah, I played with him a lot. He's really chill. He's good at the game. It's just, even though sometimes we get so used to playing with each other that we don't even communicate properly. We just assume we know what's going on with the other person. Yeah, probably him. He's always a good time. And I don't really feel too much pressure or anything. It's just like relaxed gameplay and
nice.
You know, if you die, you die.
Yep.
Sort of thing.
Cool.
So probably him I've played with the most, yeah.
All right. And now, you know, you're over in the UK, you know, staying with Blitzergirl. How is it adapting using somebody else's setup? You're not home.
It's so hard. It's so hard because you get used to how your game runs, how your keyboard feels, the mouse pad, like, and I didn't think it would matter that much, but like I have a 27-inch monitor at home.
Yeah.
And she has a 24, and I'm like, whenever I play, sometimes I'm like I'm really looking because I feel like I can't see as much, and it changed my sense. And for a couple of days, I was like, man, why am I missing everything? Like I haven't changed anything. And then I was like, the actual monitor changed. And I was like, guys, does that make a difference? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So my sense is, weirdly enough, even though it's meant to go lower, I've actually upped it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Pretty hard.
Yeah.
Pretty
okay.
hard.
So last year in TwitchCon in San Diego, was that your first TwitchCon experience?
Mm-hmm.
And how was that whole experience?
It was pretty surreal as well as eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
Because TwitchCon itself, this is how you get unpartnered on Twitch, but I think it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
I do. I think for what it is, I actually think that PAX in Melbourne was far better than that. And if it's PAX in Australia, I'm saying it's better than the TwitchCon, then it can't be that great. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, why do ads always play and they bring volume in, even though there was nothing else like turned up? Sorry. So, TwitchCon itself is actually kind of air, but the people that go and the people that you meet are definitely worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard, you know, in San Diego, it was like, for TwitchCon, but outside, everybody getting together, seeing everybody was that was the experience.
It was pretty cool, and you realize how niche the Tarkov community is and just how big it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I got to meet a lot of people, and that you obviously wouldn't have the chance to meet in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I think it's worth going to, but if you don't care for the actual convention and you don't want to give that money for the ticket, just don't go and meet up with anyone after.
And now, something that's unique, I guess, for, you know, content creators is like, you know, you're going to TwitchCon, you have people that sort of like, you know, not your idols, but peers, like you sort of like, admire and whatnot. And then you turn around and then there's your community who's looking at you as like, yeah, oh wow, excited to see you and things like that. How
Yeah.
is that? Just sort of like,
I
experiencing
think
that.
for me, it's very surreal. I mean, I don't have, a huge community. I have a like kind of big community, and there are people that know of me, but I don't have like a massive. So I don't, all the time have massive groups of people
Right.
like coming up to me or anything. But I've definitely had situations where, people are happy to see me, and it's the craziest thing.
Mhm.
Even to me, it is the most wild thing because I'm like, I literally just press a button, play a video game, and you guys just for some reason they just like, I don't know if admire is the right
Yeah.
word. I'm not really good with words, but it's crazy to think that someone could admire you,
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, and almost look up to you in ways like that. To me is crazy.
Yeah.
And when I went to the first Dream Hack, when Pest did the panel and things with like Toast, Slush, Red Ops, me,
Yeah.
him, that was a pretty crazy, surreal situation because you have two ways about it. You have all these people, and so many people won't even know who you are. And
Mhm.
it's like, oh, all right. But then you also have like so many people that did know who you are. And there were people that wanted me to like sign something. And that to me, I was like, for the first time in my life, I was like, how do I sign train?
Right.
Like no one's ever asked this before. I've never had to do this. And
Yeah.
it's crazy. You leave on a very big high.
Yeah.
And that can be shut down pretty easily with streaming because it does that. But even the last stream hack, I did IRL stream, and there were a few there that were from stream, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing. Like these people are just like, hey, and they want to take a picture with you, and it's
Yeah.
like it's the most adorable and incredible thing that you could possibly never explain.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it's
fantastic.
insane. Yeah.
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 And now are you looking forward to, because this next TwitchCon's in Paris, right?
Yes, I'm so looking forward to it.
Oh, nice.
Paris, Canada, New York. 3 places that I want to go once
Yeah.
in my life.
Okay.
So I'm about to tick off one. So
Yeah.
I need to tick off the other 2 at some point.
So now when you came over to San Diego in the fall, was that your first time in America?
So
Oh.
that was the first time that I've properly traveled ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty intense for first time
Yeah.
properly traveling. Yeah.
And now what was your thoughts of coming to America? Anything that really stuck out?
Well, you want full honesty?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm a Canadian, so it's good.
Oh, cool. We're good. Full honesty, I thought that America itself was nice. I didn't think that it was as bad as people say
Yeah.
for certain things. But I also did learn a lot about how fortunate I do really actually feel in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Just I noticed like the difference between this is the only way I could explain it really. The difference between lower class and medium class in America is quite big.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that it was quite huge, and people that were in, sort of medium class, they actually lived really well.
Yeah.
Like really well. So someone that's on that sort of like mid class in Australia, it's like you get by.
Yeah.
You get by, you pay for your house, you probably don't go on holidays much, if ever.
Yeah.
And you just save a little bit of money and pay your mortgage, pay your car, right? That's sort of like medium class here.
Yeah.
And I felt like in America, the medium class, they ate really well.
Yeah.
I had semi-decent jobs. Obviously don't know the real big details of it, so I'm really generalizing everything here because I saw everything from an outside perspective. They had nice cars. They could get houses. Like I see so many streamers in America being like, I put down an application to buy a house, and I'm like, what? Like how? Like banks wouldn't even look at me here. And there are definitely some people in that boat that I think that I do earn a little bit more and I wouldn't even be looked at here. Like the bank would just laugh at me quite often. And so there are certain things I think with mid class over there, and the difference between low and like mid is quite big. That there are certain things that I think are quite crazy and you guys have quite well. But then there's also the lower end, and it's quite bad.
Yeah.
It's like huge extremes,
It is.
Like there's no sort of middle ground in that, and there's not as much help.
Yeah.
So going to the streets, seeing a lot of people homeless and taking drugs, pretty full on.
Yeah.
Taking drugs on the street was quite full on. And here it's sort of like you'll have a bad area or a bad suburb, and then it'll sort of improve in a different suburb maybe, and you'll have good and bad spots of that suburb. But over there, it felt like I went from one block to another, and it just changed so rapidly. I was like, this is intense. Like, I'm not sure I want to be on this block sort of thing. So you start walking faster,
Right.
So yeah, it's very surreal over there. Very surreal. You do realize certain things that you do have better. You learn to appreciate those things, but then there's also some things you guys have better, right? And that's just the same for anywhere, really.
Very true.
The same for anywhere, yeah.
Yeah, and it's you were saying, you go from one block to another, and it's night and day. My wife, used to work in the city here in Connecticut, where her hospital was sort of borderline. If you went 2 blocks that way, it's night and day. Like, you don't want to stop.
That's
you want to roll
crazy
through
to me.
stops. Yeah, it is
that's intense.
Yeah.
I think that's intense, but overall, like, not to get into like that part too much, like, America was really fun. I had a really good time. My stomach didn't agree with the food very much, but I did eat a lot of food, and I ate a lot of different things. Tipping and just like going to a restaurant and like you get free refills was nutty. I was like, I get more for free? I was like, no way.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of refills.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I think more so for the fact that I just got to meet a lot of people and hang out with a lot of good people. So
awesome. Excellent. And now so Canada's on your bucket list too to come check out? Nice.
Yep.
Any particular province or just, Canada in general?
Just Canada in general. I mean, it's beautiful over there.
Yeah.
I'm a real sucker for nature, basically.
Nice.
I'm a real sucker for cliffs and mountains. And
Yeah.
anything to do with ice and snow, I'm like in awe of. And I don't know, it seems to be a thing where a lot of Aussies want to go to Canada.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Probably because it's quite easy to get a visa there, but a lot of Aussies want to go to Canada.
So ice and snow. So have you seen ice and snow before? Oh, okay.
So it does snow in Australia.
Yeah.
Upon disbelief to people. And I went snowboarding last year.
Oh, nice.
In Melbourne, but it was horrible. It was the most unfluffiest snow you could see in your life.
No.
It was just rock hard ice, and I just couldn't snowboard on it. It was the most difficult thing I've ever done. That's why I just gave up.
Yeah.
But I went to New Zealand, and it was incredible.
Oh, wow.
It was so fluffy, and it was easy to pick up, and it was fun. It was truly amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're trying to learn to snowboard on a hard packed surface, it is not fun because you need to use the edges, and you're hitting your butt and your knees a lot.
It just wasn't doable. And obviously we just don't have the best climate for it, right?
Yeah.
So unless you go to the tracks that aren't the beginner ones, which are then scary, you're not going to get fluffy snow. Yeah. And then at that point, you're like, do I want to go down this cliff face? Right. You know, like, yeah.
Yeah. So now when you disconnect from going live, what are some of the things you like to do? So snowboarding's on the list, getting outside.
Yeah, I like to get outside a lot, even though for the most part in the last couple of years, I've struggled to go outside.
Yeah.
I think streaming really puts you in a place of being a bit of a hermit.
Yeah.
So you end up struggling to go outside. But since being in the UK with this summer, I've been trying to go outside a lot more and exercise a lot. But
nice.
I think outside of stream and editing, I don't really get much time.
Yeah.
So, like, because I'm trying to, build a new way for me to be more secure financially, and I really enjoy editing, so that's what I'm going for.
Nice.
I'm editing for some other people, and I don't have time to edit my own stuff, unfortunately, if I'm also streaming, because, editing my stuff doesn't make me money. Do you know what I mean? That's not going to pay the bills. So right now, outside of stream, I don't really have much time to do anything else.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Do you watch any TV or any movies or anything?
I've gone to the movies a couple times here. For the first time in like years. And there's like recliner seats and everything here. And I was so gobsmacked. And apparently they are in Australia now, but I haven't been in so long that I just didn't even know.
Yeah.
But I've gone to the movies a few times. But I don't really watch too much TV though.
All right. Well, Train, you survived the podcast. But before you go, I gotta, like everybody who's been on, like Blitzergirl came on, she called you out. Who are you calling out that should come on the pod?
Oh God,
Put
too
you on
much
the spot.
pressure.
Lots of pressure.
They clearly need to be a streamer.
It's yeah. A streamer would be good, or somebody who has a good story.
Have you had Try before?
Who?
Triangle.
No, I have not. She's kind of scares me though. From watching her stream and
The Try is she's definitely a little bit more private when it comes to her personal things, but I think that she would probably you would have a lot of fun with her. I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think you should ask her. Worst case, she says no, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well,
and then if not Triangle, Emma. Ask Emma.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for doing the pod. It was wonderful meeting you, and best of luck on your travels, and
thank you.
Safe trip when you get home.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.